In my pursuit of trying to find positives within the negatives, all the negatives that are going on, I would be sorely remiss if I didn't talk about the positives with Tua as well. Because those positives tie into this next game that's coming up with the Jets, which is going to be a big, big pivotal game for the Miami Dolphins. And I don't think it's all hope is lost. I don't think we're going to blow through this team. There's a lot of stuff to process through this, and things can happen on game day to change everything. What I do know for 100% certain, when you go back and you look at that Bengals game, Tua was playing excellent. Now, you get the one pick and you want to fixate on that. Well, deal in the whole body of work. This kid was headed in a very good direction, and I think the more I look at the tape, we would have clearly taken that game. Shows this kid is on his redemption tour, and how, I don't want to use hyperbolic words, how abysmal his injury was for him personally, his family, but also what he was trying to do. He's a football player. He's a warrior. I've been saying that for a long time. And he wants to prove himself. He wants to show the world, show his teammates that he is a player of high quality and what he can do on the highest level. It's been his dream since he's a little kid. And that was interrupted by this nasty, nasty concussion. And when we find out the details, which is coming up very soon, what happened in the Bills game if there was a concussion there and misdiagnosed and all this other stuff. But these two events really interrupted a very high trajectory. And I'm going to go over the tape, and I'm also going to deal with the play where he got knocked out. Because, some people are saying, well, is it hero ball? When you look at the tape in slow motion in all 22, and you kind of see, well, this guy, it's very clear, and it wasn't hero ball. So I'm going to, deal with Tua, his trajectory, his performance, what we're going to miss now with Teddy in there. And Teddy's not Teddy terrible. He's a quality backup and a low-grade starter. Low to top of third grade of the league grade starter. And then I'm going to deal in something else because obviously the concussion is a critical factor. I covered a post game and covered it the next day. And so this job is a really weird gig, I wish people could do this thing and get a taste of it. Because I remember being on the other side and thinking differently. But now that I'm on this side, I have learned a ton. I am, as I said, I'm an impetuous person. I'm an emotional person. I try to contain that because I screw up when I'm emotional. The only time I can do smart and wise and controlled emotionals on the page. That's why I hated to do this job, never wanted to do it, and I loved being behind a computer or on a piece of paper, typewriter, because I'm old. That's my home. In this job, though, you can really screw up, and it's very easy. And I screwed up. I'll deal with the whole thing in a larger Mea Culpa, because not everybody gives a darn. But there's people who listen to me and care, and they want to know or whatever. So I'll do that in another expanded version. But here right now, I want to say I screwed up. Bad information. Got a comment the night of the game that said, you're not covering all out on Tua, and you're a bad guy. And I was emotionally hurt by that. And I tried to do that for whatever reason. But next day, I did a podcast. It came out the day after. So I grabbed information, emotionally activated, and I put together the podcast. I was proud of a lot of the stuff I did in that podcast, but use a football anecdote or analogy. I was a guy having a pretty good game, and then threw the pick six in the end zone to lose it for the team because I said, hey, look, man, let's just find out. I heard that morning that he had CAT scans. I said, so let's see the CAT scans. Not visually see them, but let's see the results. Let's know the results, and then we'll know if this kid was misdiagnosed or not, because I had seen people get CAT scans with head injuries. I see it happen to football players. And then I did a quick cursory look that, you could use that stuff to detect, but it's not to the level that I created it. And when I was doing the podcast, I was emotional. I turned to Perry Mason and, here's the evidence. And everybody goes, and then the guy screams out on the stand, I did it. That's where I was going. And I overblew it, overdid it. And I was wrong on the information. CAT scans can only detect damage that happens after a major head injury, which then can indicate there was severe head trauma. But they can't detect concussions themselves. Terry Stokes, one of the commenters, had mentioned it's on a cellular level, so you really have to go with the signs that are available, the throwing up, the puking. And I had some really good comments, and you can see it right here. Patrick Mullen had a great comment. I should have heeded it more. Look, even a CT test or MRI isn't conclusive in determining whether someone has a concussion or not. This video is well-intentioned, Curtis, but this is another example of a non-medical professional opining. Amen, huh? And I want to thank him a ton because he was the first person to say something, but it didn't strike me, And I had a stupid title. I had like 4 titles to choose from, and I was like, I'll just go with this one. And it was just an amalgamation of errors. And then, of course, a lot of people watched it. I get like certain number, and then all of a sudden this one happened to be a big one, which I should have been more savvy with, but I'm not really all that savvy. So ultimately what I want to say is I screw up here once in a while. I think I offer good information. I try to be objective. I try to be fair. But this was a big mistake, and I'm sorry for misleading you. It wasn't intentional. It was just like it was said in that comment. So I do apologize. I will be better next time, and I have to get that out. And I'm going to do a larger version to show you the whole context behind it because I like to over-engineer, and maybe somebody needs a pound of flesh or whatever. I like to be very transparent. That's who I am. So anyway, let's get back onto Tua. First, I want to say thank you for stopping by, for the likes, the subscribes, the comments, especially the comments. They help me out. Even like with this, if I had heeded it earlier, I could have averted some issues, but I didn't. Anyway, I want to thank you for all you do to make this show happen. I want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without you guys, without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. People have been saying a lot of stuff for a long time. And even Fitzpatrick, he's not my man now, but he used to be my man. He even said, well, he doesn't have any elite traits. He's got the anticipation and the accuracy. But I've always said, you can check, it's on file over my mistakes, that the quick release is a huge, 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 huge asset when you pair it with a run game, a quality line. And these are the two pieces, these are the two components that will enhance Tua. And some people are like, oh, we couldn't run a football inside. Somebody was saying, I think his name is Mo. We had, I think it was 45 yards or 4.6 yards per carry off right guard. So when you run the football, it's about attacking, and the gains aren't always in the first couple of runs. Just the fact that you're running there forces the defense to bite. And then this opens up other aspects, and it opens up other aspects of the run game. So it's not just the yards per carry. Actually, if you check the stats, it's number of rushes, and big deal. So Tua against the Bengals was getting some kind of run game. And when we go through the tape right here, you're going to see that this game could have been far different with a few little bits here and there. And only thing that really Tua did wrong was that pick. But it wasn't, they talk about arm strength. But when you go back, and I'll show you, it's not always what the announcers say or what people want to say when they shoot at the hip. You have to go back to look at the tape. And that's what we're going to do here. So let's take a look at the tape and see what we see. All right, this is the big trait that I've always been talking about is quick release. Watch him plant, set, and throw into that small gap. And you can see the play action, holds the linebacker, pulls them, cracks open that little gap in between. And two is plant, set, and throw and release. And Hill's patience to pause just a second here is how this play comes off. But it's not as easy as they make it look. Now, Tua, quick set release and throws it over the defensive lineman who's leaping in the air and puts it right into Edmonds' hands. And he really should have had this. This is a big miss on the Dolphins' part. It could have been 7-7 at this point. So then he comes back and watch this throw into 5 defenders. This is an unbelievable throw. Notice the flat trajectory. Can't just lob it in there. There's got to be velocity and accuracy and anticipation. 2 to 3 feet over the outstretched defender's hands and about a foot in front of the second defender coming in. This was an amazing pass. Now, here's the pick. Everyone's going to talk about that, but his power. But watch the platform here rolling to the right. A terrible platform, and that's going to destroy accuracy and power. Here, steps up. Look and notice the difference in his platform and drops at 35 yards in without even really much effort. Look at how this throwing platform is much different than the last, and without any real effort, just drops in casually 35 yards down the field. It could have kind of gone the same way with that interception with the right platform. Then here, throws it to Waddle, drop. Nice throw, just a drop. But then on second down, they come back to Waddle, and he puts another nice ball in here, good one-on-one, and drop again. This puts him into 3rd and long. And this could have been a big swing as well. So you had 2 big swings here, not really on Tua's fault. Happens. Then here you can see, watch Waddle. This is the big play. And notice their eyes are not locking. He's waiting for him to open up, get his eyes on him. But then by the time they lock eyes and he's like, okay, I'm ready to throw, the safety spies him, and then he goes back, looks to the other side, and then that fateful rusher comes in, and it's all over. But you see, watch, right here. They lock their eyes, and this is when the safety turns. Now he sees the safety. You can see him looking at the safety, and he comes back to the backside because he knows he's got an empty guy out there, and then it's too late. And so this wasn't hero ball at all. All right, so you could see you had three key drops that one took 7 points off, 2 key drops by Waddle that put a 3rd and long, which either one of those could have been a first down or put us in an area of first down, and that would have been driving us down the field. And then you could see that fateful hit on him really wasn't hero ball. Now, when you run long, deep routes like that, and your first option is that deep route, the progressions can be a problem. I didn't really like the progressions on that, whether that's what he's trained for and that's what he's told to do, or he chose to go through those progressions based on what he saw. I don't know. But he immediately was holding for that long pass. And when it got pulled away, long passes like that on play action can be a dangerous recipe. And it just didn't really work out. It was just a bad set of circumstances. A very bad set of circumstances. So the only thing I could fault, there's little things within that, don't get me wrong. But you could see his play was extraordinarily high. And that pick really was more about platform, follow-through, and delivery. And so when we see this, we can see this guy has accuracy, he has anticipation, he's got some mobility, he's got the quick release, which is a big deal. Now, Teddy's got a fairly decent release. It's fairly quick. Teddy's somewhat mobile. You can see he's got a somewhat above average to good arm. Teddy has a lot of stuff to offer. My concern, though, the difference between Tua and Teddy is that release. You go back, and I've been saying this for 2 years, or maybe even longer now. I don't know, whatever. 2 seasons from now, this season and last season certainly. That quick release has saved him so many times from hits and this offense from so many negative plays. This offensive line in front of Teddy it's going to be more critical for this offensive line to play big and to play well and to run the football. Because Teddy cannot offset a weakish offensive line as well as Tua. And I don't believe he has the ball skills as far as the delivery, anticipation, all this other stuff. But he does have enough. If we can give him protection and not get negative plays because of breakdowns, and if we can run the ball with a similar ability as we did against Cincy, then we should be okay. But this is not a guarantee. I'm going to do the tape of the offensive line, and then we got to put that together with Tehran's injury. Tehran is really suffering, man. He's really, really suffering on that toe as far as being able to perform. You can't miss practice after practice after practice after practice after practice, and then and after missing lots of practice, and then trying to rehab from the leg, and then come in and show up on game day and be as good. He is still playing pretty well, but he's not playing to Tehran's level. And given the holes we have, this could be a problem. I really am trying to put it together as far as how we're going to be able to overcome this game, and how we're going to be able to overcome the Jets. It's not going to be easy. Division games are never easy. The Jets are a lot more feisty than you think, and critical injuries all over the place is changing the complexion of what we would see originally in the matchups. So I'm going to get into that next, but Tua is really on the right track. He really is a big piece to this offense, and it's not Tua and on. It's not just the receivers. It's this kid playing really, really well. But I still think we can overcome it. Think is not always is. We will see. Anyway, this is Curtis saying, again, I am sorry for the poor information. As far as scans, it wasn't my intention. And it bothers me that I did it. But I always believe you learn more when you screw up and make mistakes than you do when you have success. So I'm going to learn from this, and I will be better next time. Anyway, Curtis saying, thank you for staying to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe. Go Phins. This is a big crossroads for us guys. And Tua, get better. Take your time getting back. Your health is far more important than the game. Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. Your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.